Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a wild one, and Cowboys fans, NFC East fans, and honestly, any NFL fan who loves defense is gonna want to lock in for this, because we're talking about a possible defensive front in Dallas that would be absolutely terrifying. I'm talking about Haason Reddick, Rashan Gary, and Quinnen Williams forming what could be a straight-up no-escape trap that turns quarterback pressure into full-on panic. This is one of those, if this ever happened in real life, offenses are done type scenarios. And we're going to break down why this is so crazy, how it could even work, what it would look like on the field, and what it would mean for the Cowboys' identity going forward. So stay with me, because we're going deep on this one. Let's start with the basic idea. Imagine an already talented Cowboys defense that's built around speed, chaos, and takeaway energy. And now you drop in three players who each individually command double teams and alter game plans. We're not talking about good pass rushers. We're talking about pressure engines who live in the backfield. Haason Reddick, Rashan Gary, and Quinnen Williams on the same line, in the same scheme, with Micah Parsons still flying around? That's not a pass rush. That's a problem for the entire league. First, I want you to picture how offenses currently approach the Cowboys. Right now, when teams play Dallas, the number one rule is account for Micah Parsons. Slide the protection to him, chip him with a tight end, keep a back in, move the launch point with play action and bootlegs, quick passes, RPOs, anything to keep Micah from wrecking the game. Even with that, he still does damage. But now imagine if you could not simply slide protection to one guy, because everywhere you look, there's another monster coming. Haason Reddick is that speed rusher who just ruins the edge. At his best, he's bending around tackles before they can even get a real punch on him. He wins with that sudden first step, crazy closing burst, and a relentless motor. When Reddick is on, quarterbacks feel him even when he doesn't get the sack. They start feeling like the clock in their head is faster than it actually is. He's the type of rusher who forces quarterbacks to step up in the pocket, because they don't want to drift into his speed around the corner. Now layer in Rashan Gary. Gary is power. He's the long-arm bull rush, the walk the tackle back into the quarterback's lap type of guy. He's explosive off the line, but what makes him so brutal is that he converts speed to power and just caves in the edge. Instead of forcing the QB to step up like a typical speed rusher, Gary collapses the edge straight backward, so the quarterback can't hit that comfortable step-up spot in the pocket. You're boxed in from the outside, the tackle is getting driven back, and your vision is getting crowded. And then, sitting right in the middle of all that, we drop Quinnen Williams. Quinnen is the interior chaos merchant. He can win with speed, with power, with hands, with counters. He can beat guards clean off the snap. He can walk guys back into the QB, and he's a legit run stuffer on top of that. When you have a defensive tackle who can collapse the pocket from the inside, the quarterback loses that last escape route. There's nowhere to climb, nowhere to hide. And that's when you start seeing bad decisions, ugly throws, and turnovers. So if you're an offensive coordinator facing a Cowboys front with Reddick on one edge, Gary on the other, Quinnen inside, and you still have to worry about Micah Parsons floating, stunting, blitzing, or lining up wherever he wants, that's when pressure becomes panic. That's when normal pass protection rules just stop working, because you literally do not have enough bodies to help everywhere at once. Think about protections for a second. Let's talk through what it would actually feel like to scheme against this. Say you're an OC drawing up the game plan. You've got your 5 offensive linemen. Most of the time, you can slide protection to the biggest threat. With a typical front, maybe there's one superstar edge rusher and a decent interior guy. You say, okay, slide toward the star, chip with the back, and we'll live with one-on-ones elsewhere. But in this scenario, if you slide the line toward Reddick's side to handle that speed and help the tackle, you are now leaving Gary one-on-one with a tackle on the opposite side, and Quinnen potentially singled up versus a guard. That's a disaster waiting to happen. If you slide toward Gary, same problem on the opposite edge and up the middle. If you try to slide protection inside to Quinnen to avoid interior pressure, both edges get scary. You can bring in an extra tight end to chip, sure, but now you're keeping people in, reducing route combinations, and making life harder on your own passing attack. And don't forget about Micah Parsons. Even if, in this hypothetical, he's not rushing every down, he's a constant threat. You can line him up over the A-gap and mug him like a blitzing linebacker. You can walk him off the edge to overload a side. Or you can send him on stunts with Quinnen, looping around to confuse protections. Now your center is stressed trying to identify who's actually coming. Quarterbacks are trying to change protections at the line. The play clock is ticking down. That's how pre-snap pressure turns into mental stress before the ball is even snapped. Now, let's talk about how this becomes not just pressure, but panic. Pressure is when the defense can hurry the quarterback, flush him out, maybe get a few sacks. Panic is when the quarterback starts making bad reads, seeing ghosts, throwing hot when he doesn't need to, or holding the ball just a half second too long because he doesn't trust what he's seeing. Panic is when the offensive line has communication breakdowns, when backs miss assignments, when receivers have less time to get open because the QB has to get the ball out in under 2.5 seconds on almost every drop back. That's what a front like Reddick, Gary, and Quinnen can do. They compress the time window for the offense so much that the entire passing game structure breaks. Picture a 3rd and 8 late in the second quarter. Cowboys up by 3, opposing team backed up in their own territory. Defense trots out this front. Reddick wide on the left, Gary wide on the right. Quinnen shaded over a guard. Micah walked up in the A-gap. Crowd is going crazy. The offense knows a pass is coming, the defense knows a pass is coming, and the OC knows he has to call something quick because holding the ball is asking for a sack. Maybe he calls a quick game concept, slant flat, or a shallow cross. But what if the coverage rolls into press man with a robber safety, and now the quarterback has to come off his first read? That's when this front eats. While the quarterback is going from read 1 to read 2, Quinnen walks the guard into his lap. Reddick is screaming around the corner, and Gary is compressing the pocket from the opposite side. There's no escape lane. If he tries to spin out, he's running into one of those edges. If he tries to step up, Quinnen is right there. Throwing off your back foot into tight coverage, pick, tuck and run, tackle for loss. That's the no escape trap in action. What makes this combo unique is how their styles mesh. Often, you get one elite speed guy, one power guy, maybe one good interior player. Here, each of these three can win in more than one way. Reddick isn't just speed, he has developed counters. Gary isn't just bull rush, he can work inside moves. Quinnen isn't just brute force, he's got hand usage, swim moves, and quickness. That makes it incredibly hard for offensive linemen to settle in. You can't just set deep for speed and feel safe, because they can convert to power. You can't just anchor for power, because they'll hit you with a quick move. On top of that, you've got Cowboys DC-type creativity, with simulated pressures, stunts, twists. You can run TE stunts with Quinnen and Reddick, where Quinnen crashes, occupies two guys, and Reddick loops inside free. You can run ET stunts with Gary and Quinnen on the other side. You can line Quinnen up wider on passing downs in a NASCAR package, let him rush like a big end, and put an extra interior rusher next to him. The versatility becomes a nightmare puzzle. Let's also consider how this changes what offenses call. With that much heat up front, a lot of teams are going to try to run the ball to slow them down. But here's the twist. Quinnen is not some pass-only guy. He's one of the better run defenders at his position. Gary sets a strong edge in the run game. Reddick can be a little lighter, but when he's playing with good leverage and discipline, he can spill runs into the teeth of the defense. So early downs are not safe havens either. You can't just say, "We'll run at them and tire them out," because they're athletic and physical enough to still win against the run and get you into those long third downs where the trap closes. And if the Cowboys' offense has a lead, if Dak and that offense are putting up points, now this front really turns games into track meets. Pass rushers love playing with a lead because the opponent becomes one-dimensional. You're getting more pure pass sets, more obvious passing situations, and fewer play-action looks that slow you down. That's when sack numbers skyrocket. This hypothetical Cowboys team would feast when they're up by 10 or more. That's when you see strip sacks, blindside hits, rushed throws into coverage. That's when games snowball. Now, from a team-building perspective, loading up this much on the defensive line and edge talent basically says, we are building a fear-based defense. You're not just trying to be sound, you're trying to be terrifying. Every offensive coordinator on the schedule circles that week and says, how do we survive? Not how do we win, but how do we keep our quarterback alive? That shifts the psychological battle. You may even see teams changing their overall offensive identity just for this matchup. More screens, more RPOs, more quick game, rolling the pocket, moving the launch point, extra tight ends in pass pro. But now you've forced them out of their comfort zone right away, simply by existing. Also, think about the domino effect on the back end of the defense. When you have that kind of rush, your secondary's job gets easier. Corners don't have to plaster for 4, 5, 6 seconds. They can be more aggressive, jump routes, sit on intermediate throws. Safeties can bait quarterbacks, disguise coverages until the last second, because they know the ball has to come out. That's how you get more interceptions, more tipped balls, more big plays on defense. It's not just about sacks, it's about turnovers and game-changing moments. That's how defenses score. That's how they change field position and momentum. And offensively for Dallas, knowing you have that kind of unit on the other side of the ball changes how you call your own game too. You don't have to be reckless. You don't have to push the ball every drive. You can lean into ball control, play action, field position, and trust that your defense will eventually break the opponent. That's basically how teams like the early Legion of Boom Seahawks operated. Let the defense hunt. And the offense plays efficient, not desperate. For Dallas, it could mean fewer shootouts and more controlled, suffocating wins. Now, let's look at the intangible side of this. Imagine the atmosphere in AT&T Stadium with that front. Third down, lights flashing, crowd on their feet, and you know you've got Reddick, Gary, Quinnen, plus Micah on the field together. Quarterbacks start speeding themselves up because they don't want to get hit. Linemen jump early, false starts start piling up. Crowd noise plus pass rush equals free yards for the defense. And each hit, each hurry, each sack compounds. By the fourth quarter, that QB doesn't want to hang in and deliver a deep ball. He's flinching, dropping his eyes to the rush. From a narrative standpoint, this would completely flip how people talk about the Cowboys. For years, the story has been about offense, about star receivers, about Dak, about big plays. But a front like this would make Dallas known as a defensive heavyweight again, a team built to beat the high-flying offenses in the NFC, to chase guys like Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, Matthew Stafford, and whoever else emerges. It would be a statement. You might score, but you're gonna pay the price every time you drop back. And I want to hit one more angle, the concept of no escape in today's NFL, where quarterbacks are more mobile than ever. You can't just rush blindly upfield anymore, because guys will step up and scramble for 20 yards. But when you have speed off the edge like Reddick, power and length like Gary, and pocket-collapsing interior quickness like Quinnen, scrambling lanes shrink. If a QB bails out the back door, he's running into Reddick or Gary. If he steps up, Quinnen is right there. If he tries to slide out to one side, you can run games and contain him. This is how you deal with dual-threat quarterbacks. You shrink the space around them and make them play from a muddy pocket where vision is impaired and timing is disrupted. That's when even the best athletes at QB start making mistakes. So when we talk about this trio building a no-escape trap that turns pressure into panic, it's not just a catchy line. It's literally how the mechanics of pass rushing and quarterback psychology work. Pressure is physical. Panic is mental. These three, in the right system, with the right pieces around them, have the profile to create both. Offensive lines can only block so many people. Quarterbacks can only process so much chaos. And defenses that can win with four, without having to send constant all-out blitzes, are the ones that last deep into January. I want to hear from you, though. If a front like this ever got assembled in Dallas, where would you rank it among the scariest pass rush units in recent NFL history? Would it be up there with the 49ers' loaded fronts, the Eagles' waves of pass rushers, the Broncos with Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware, or those Giants lines that took down Brady? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who would you double? Who would you try to take away? And how would you even game plan against a front like this? If you enjoyed this breakdown and you like these deep dive what-if defensive scenarios, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. We're going to keep exploring how elite talent combos can completely change the way football is played on both sides of the ball. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.